Next, we're joined by Anton. Next, we're joined by Anton Repyov. You can continue eating your cakes and drinking tea. Yeah. So, Anton, what have you brought us?
Yeah. So just I want to take a bit wait, or we can already start.
I think it's better to start. You can start introducing yourself, etc.
So I have a small introduce. Just from greeting. Hi everyone. How are you doing? Yeah, great. So if you don't know me, my name is Anton. I'm the founder of A2SEVEN. We're a outsourcing software company. We built mobile and web application and work with startups and business with clients around the world. So, but today I want to talk about the startups and a bit about app development. So, please raise your hand if there are anybody had created your own application. Ever?
Sorry, what do you mean by your own application?
Your own application or startup as well.
Application or web application.
So your own, as a startup or not for client. Yeah, okay, great. So but now please raise your hand who was succeeded. Okay, great. So yeah, there are a lot of myths about how easy to create the startups or mobile or web application. So a lot of clients came to us and say, hey, I have an idea on $1 billion, so I want to create my own Facebook, for example, or Uber. So, but the fact is that 96% of all applications die. But after my speech, you will know how not to waste millions on app development without results. So in my 12 years in IT, I have built about hundreds applications for my clients, and once I wanted to create my own one. And today I'm gonna tell you about 3 main issues I faced when I created that application. So the story began in 2011. There was a boom of startups. Everyone wanted to create their own startup, especially the network. And I also wanted to create. Wow, we did a lot of applications for my clients, and in that time we were small, but we already created a dozen successful applications for my clients, and I think, we know how to do it. And I have a brilliant idea. I wanted to create the application of the grocery list application. So in that time I had a newborn baby, and I had to shopping grocery after my work, and sometimes I forgot something. And I tried to find any kind of solution for that, but unfortunately I couldn't. So because some of them had only offline mode, but others has ugly design, for example. So, and I couldn't find. And I decided, hey, I know how to do it, and I will do the best application in the world.
Yeah, and things like Evernote were probably too complicated and had too many functions.
Yes. I just wanted to create only the special application for the grocery list, for the shopping list. And as I know how to do it, I will do it for myself as well. It's not a problem, I thought. And I wanted to create, and what I did. So I did analyze the market. I found the competitors. I wrote out advantages and disadvantages, what exactly I want, and also draw the wireframes. So in other words, I prepared everything for work, and this brings us into the first, about the application, by the way. I forgot about switch sliders. Yeah, so, and this brings us onto the first step. we didn't have a detailed documentation. So yeah, we started development with developers who was idle in our company, who was sitting on the bench without a job. So, and usually they were a junior developer or middle developer without good skills with architecture of application, and unfortunately we always had to be changed them because they were involved in the commercial projects. And usually one person lasted about a couple of weeks on a project, and then a new developer come and rewrote from scratch everything. Or maybe rewrote some parts, or maybe improve something because, oh, what is this? Who wrote this? So it's usual. And this happened because we didn't have a detailed documentation. Yes, of course we had a list of high-level tasks in our bug tracking. We used Redmine at that time, but we didn't have a wiki, we didn't have a detailed specification, just a couple of wireframes, high-level tasks. And also, as I mentioned it before, these applications will not be had a low prioritized for me. So because the firstly was a commercial project.
So basically it was a side project, or even
it's a pet project for us. Yeah, it's pet project for us, and we think we'll do it easy. It's easy, but unfortunately no. Yeah. So and also we didn't have a responsible person who will be responsible for results. And when I understood that, I allocated time and wrote the specification, documentation, create the backlog, made the sprints, found the project manager, and made him responsible for results. But unfortunately, this, yes, a bit easy, stay a bit easy, but unfortunately, that step didn't solve all issues we have, and we faced another trap. So the trap number one is we didn't plan workflow and we didn't have a dedicated team. So we still waste time, money, and we didn't have a visual results. Without visual results, we already spent 7 months, but we haven't done even half of tasks we planned. And also, then every new developer who were involved in that project tried to do the best their work as they could. And they implemented everything, the latest features they saw in the conference, and also tried to implement the better stuff they know about it. So, and instead of to getting something workable, we get a monster. That monster had a lot of over-engineering stuff, and also it has very complicated features. So, in order to understand, our small application for shopping lists has a 7 servers instance on the DigitalOcean, and also had very hard and database architecture on MongoDB with replica set, and also the sharding, configured in sharding. So that application was able to withstand the load of millions of users. And when I saw that monster and understood where we're going, I decided, yeah, we need to dedicate a team for that, and only that person who will be only that project. So, and finally, after half and after year and a half, we finally finished that project, and we upload to the stores, so Google Play and Apple Store, and we faced and fell in another yet issues, another trap. So it was marketing. Yeah, the marketing is very important, and advertising essential. So when we created the product, I thought we would create a good application because we implemented cool features that other services didn't have, and I think the user will use it and learn about it. But unfortunately, we tried to, before upload, we use the option on the Google Play, App Store option for delayed publishing. But we didn't know that if application use that option, they didn't appear in new items. But we thought that our application will appear in new items and people learn about it and will use it and everything will be okay. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. And instead of getting hundreds or maybe 1,000 users, we got dozens. Yeah. Yes, of course, we tried to promote our application with ourselves, but unfortunately, we didn't have enough experience and skills in the marketing and the advertising. It was unsuccessful. Yeah, it was unsuccessful for us, unfortunately. And if I thought that I would create the application which will be installed on the million devices, but unfortunately I faced the rules of cruel the world. And only friends, family and food knows about knew about my application. Yeah, so if we take a look back, you can do your application infinitely. So, and the last one, but not least, is that marketing and advertising are very essential and very important. So, because without it, nobody will know about your project. So, and if you want to create your own application or maybe startup, I hope you will remember that steps and you will not repeat my mistakes.
Well, listen, I've made some conclusions about step 1 and step 2, but I'm not really sure about step 3. So what could you have done differently? I mean,
so because marketing should be in the first step. So
okay.
Before,
okay,
even if you have any great idea and if you know how to do it, you have to check if everyone will use it or not. So you need to make the marketing, you need to understand that you need that everyone or someone will use it at least.
Well, but was it about the mistake that you overestimated the target audience, or maybe you just needed to invest whole lot of money into promotion of this app on App Store? I mean,
not only the App Store as well. So the first, as I said, that marketing is, the analysis, marketing and the advertising. Yes, you need to do it the first and need to think about it before development.
But I'm sure at this very moment there is some grocery list application which is extremely popular among people like you who experience the same situation, but somehow they managed to do it. Any idea how they made it?
So, but yes, generally yes, but because we found the main competitor we had, it was a copy button, and it was copy button release was a top of uploads and so on. And yes, we also wanted to earn money from that application. We implemented some stuff of payment. So
tell us something about the way you wanted to monetize your application. Were there any extra features or what?
So yeah, the free. So I don't remember details because it was a long years ago. So, but yes, the free plan you can create some restriction of list and the items in that list. But if you pay something, you will be able to get an infinitely list, and also you have additional stuff. So we provide the Chrome plugin, and you will be able to import receipts from the website, for example. So, and also you will be able to get a push notification where you're located near the shopping store and so on, where you need to buy something. So we provide additional features.
Yeah. Will you ever consider making another attempt of making your own application, or it's always better to make applications for someone else so that they will take all the risks? Any startups you plan to start?
No.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, yeah.
Good, good. So, any questions, guys? Oля, ask a
Can you
question.
tell more about your marketing part? So, how many people you hire for marketing? How many people you hire for sales? On which stage of your process, which tasks you give to them?
So about that application or what?
First stage, second stage, third stage, they have different tasks probably. And what was this department?
Yeah, okay. So you talk about that application or what? Or in general?
The one that you are talking about.
Yeah, as I said, that application is what fucked up. So because we didn't have marketing as well. So we just created at all. Yeah, no, we just saw that we upload and it appear in the new items and everyone will use it. So
who was making the decisions, like telling this one is good, that one is best? Who was the person to do the marketing function in your team?
So at that time, I and my partner do this about the marketing. So because, as I said, we didn't know nothing about it.
So you just were, what background did you have at this moment? Like a product manager or just programmer? Who exactly you were?
So right now, sorry.
No, when you did this,
Yeah.
you were doing this marketing function, but you have some background so that it was close to marketing or totally not. Who were you at this moment?
So I was a product owner, and if you're right, understand you. So who am I?
Your previous experience, have you ever did any products like product?
So yeah, no. As I mentioned it before, we were a development company. We know how to build the application, and after the launch, we didn't understand what happened with the application. It was a black box for us. So, and we didn't understand about that. So we thought, okay, we did it, and then everything will be okay.
Thank you. Very good story.
Yeah, and yes, please.
Hi. Thank you for the story. I have two questions actually for you. First one, I am serious. Like, someone can buy groceries. Like WhatsApp works just perfect. But my wife sent me the list of groceries. I buy it, and it works cool. Like, someone really wants to buy.
Yeah. If you look at for example, I don't know the renaming, but if you look at the copy button, I think if you Google it, so you will find that it was a really top rated, and it has a lot of payment features and users, a lot of users there.
Okay, you just convinced me that people are crazy. And the second question, the application where you have several flags, like I bought this, and I need to buy that. It's like, and you're talking about writing documentation, very dedicated team,
Yeah.
think about infrastructure and architecture. Like, you probably can hire a student on 4 hours a day.
No,
and
not good.
No.
he could do the application for you.
So
This is the simple.
we also thought about something like this. It's really easy application just to do this, something like this, but unfortunately it doesn't. So we create the design, we create the mobile application for Android, for iOS, we created the web server also, which will be able to have a sharing list with your friends. Also it works in real time. So, and a lot of features there, really.
Yeah, with applications, it can be really complicated.
Yeah,
I know what he's talking about.
It sounds like you've never heard about agile stuff.
Yeah, I've been writing applications all my life, but just hard to
Me too.
imagine that that simple application requires that much effort.
No.
I just can't believe it.
I don't agree. Yeah, as I mentioned. Yeah, it's maybe from your. It looks like it's easy, but when you start and want to create as the real product, not that's example something. Let's try to do this. So it has a pretty much stuff, really hard stuff.
Yeah, and maybe
So-
10 years ago it was more difficult. I mean, they didn't have that Swift. And
Of course, they want to do Swift.
yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
And especially in real time, because the Node.js it's only have first version of Node.js, but the PHP didn't work properly well with the real-time stuff. So need to add additional stuff in order to work.
It was harder, yeah. Yes, please.
So you listed 3 traps or 3 fuck-ups in your product in chronological order, but what trap is really the defining one? I mean, all three are needed. All three are needed to understand that you are fucked up. But which trap sets you to understand that?
So, which one was the most crucial probably?
Crucial, yes.
Crucial. The third one is
Yeah,
marketing.
I also agree. Because
So
you
it's-
know, when you have even a shitty application with bugs, etc., but somehow you've managed to promote it, then there is a chance you can succeed. But if you are bad at marketing, then nothing can help you.
Yeah, a lot of examples in real world. So when you work in outsourcing, you work with a different application, and you will see how they die, always die, and especially because the idea may be really good, but someone couldn't get enough users. Someone not promote will be able to, or was not able to promote application, and so on. So this is very important and very harder part and the harder issues and
So this trap, this fuck up should be the first one.
Yeah, of course. Yes, it should be at first. Now I know about it, but then I didn't know.
Yeah, and your question, please.
If I have a good idea and I don't have these 3 bad things, and can I save some time in quality of code? If I have a good marketing, I have a team of seniors which
Yeah, I
can,
see.
and the second and if I have documentations at the beginning, this is takes a lot of time and money, and if I have this, I want to save add on the quality of code.
Yeah, I see. But I disagree a bit with you, and I try to explain why. So yes, of course, you can reduce your quality of code and try to maybe use no code as an example. So yes, you need first need to do this as fast as possible in order to check your hypothesis. But the documentation, you said that it's spent too much time and so on, but it's really important. So because it will help you in the future. Because when you wrote the documentation specification, you understand what exactly you want, at least on that step and so on. But if you just coding from without, so I have an idea and I go. So you have, you will be able to get problems in later because you didn't think about it. I forgot about it. But when you think about it firstly, you will reduce future issues. So that's do not afraid to spend time on that first step, on the documentation, analysis, and so on. But later, you will be able to reduce the quality of code in order to check, but later you will rewrite it, of course. But documentation is very important. After the marketing.
Such as TikTok. This is very
Yeah.
simple application with many or less features that they could make, but they tried, they just...
Well,
Yeah, just need to, the first need to
I
write.
wouldn't call it a simple application. I'm sure there is a lot of going on under the hood, you know.
But it's simpler than Facebook and
Yes, definitely simpler than Facebook. So anyone else? Any more questions? Yeah, Julia, ask your question, please.
Thanks. So I have a question about working in a team. And you mentioned that the developers that were hired initially, they basically wanted to implement all the features that they read about, all the cool stuff that they saw at the conferences, and that was not necessary, and that was dragging the project behind. But I'm curious how you work with this, because in my experience, I worked with teachers, teaching them how to create lesson plans, and they always wanted to push unnecessary stuff that just complicated the lesson and made it impossible to work with. And in my experience, it was very, very difficult to convince them to stop. And it was very demotivating. It was like really, it required a lot of thought and imagination and calmness to just keep on with the plan and motivate them not to do this extra stuff. But it was actually very difficult to ask them not to do that. So I'm very curious how it works in IT. If it's just very straightforward, you tell please don't, it's like in the army, or it's a whole process of negotiation, please stop being so creative. I'm very interested in this psychological aspect of working with developers who want to do their best.
So how did you do it? I mean, so someone wants to use MongoDB and you say, no way, we're not going to use it, use some, I don't know.
So yeah, for that you need to lead someone, lead developer who you're responsible for result and for the deadline as well. So the project manager or maybe tech lead. So and when we understand the deadline, we understand how we can fit in that time. So and instead of if you didn't do some deadlines for that, they will do the best and implement everything. So the first you need to give them a deadlines, and also they will try to fit.
So basically deadlines cure everything, you know, any problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then also you need to have, as I already mentioned, the lead developer or the project manager. So and then who will be responsible and he will be answer on the result for that.
And Pasha, there was a question from you.
Yes, well, the question, thank you for your speech. As I understood, you developed hundreds of applications, yes? So you and your team have developed hundreds of applications.
Yeah.
100, there are
Quite many.
And what is, in your opinion, maybe the most, let's say, useful for society, for people, for you maybe, from this long list? The most useful, the most brilliant?
Maybe there was the
Not
most,
the
most
most
successful
released.
application which managed to succeed, or
Yeah, so
That is a favorite.
my favorite application, what I did.
yeah, for your clients.
That's the so.
So yeah, I see.
And why?
And why? Okay, so the first one, the better I want to, how to say, maybe you know the coding. So this is a platform for developers. So we will be able, they allow developers write code directly on the cloud. So and we'll share the code between teams. So and we worked with that project from scratch and worked it about 3 years. So and we had about 5 or 6 developers working at that project. So and the client come to us from USA, and that is why maybe it will be more more like for me that project.
So
because-
basically, it was a project you created a cloud platform for coding, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So after that, this was a couple of years. This service goes to the open source, and it's also the great for me because it's I love open source as well. So when the application you did is successful, it's very great.
Is the live now?
Yes, of course.
Coding.
Coding.com. Coding.com. Yeah, coding. Через K.
Development for,
K.
for development.
Yeah, developer for
So
development.
coding.com.
It's free, definitely free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, of course they had.
Successful in the monetization.
Of course, yeah, they have a monetization as well. So, but you will be able to upload on your server. So, because it is an open source
Oh, by the way,
solution.
now I remember when I started learning Python, I think I even used it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So anyone else? Any questions? No? So it looks like we finished. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you Alex, for your invitation.
Yeah, and can I have a picture with you? Because we have this long-standing tradition of shaking hands.